Hello, everyone. How are you? Hope everyone is doing well and reciting your mantras. I will continue reading from Chetsang Rinpoche's biography, and this section is very interesting because there is another contestant in the claim for being the Chetsang Rinpoche. And I remember living in the Garchen Buddhist Institute as a Karma Yoga volunteer. And one day I had like immense sadness because I have become attached to His Eminence Garchen Rinpoche, and I was thinking about our mortality, and if one day he passes, then the teachings may or may not continue, like having those types of anxieties. And then I wandered upon the new Tara Stupa. Om Tare Tu Tare Ture Soha. And fortunately, inside the stupa, there were many precious relics. So that some of the relics at this Arizona center included those from Chogyam Trungpa. He was one of the pioneering Buddhist lamas in America. And he also made an effort to connect with different Buddhist Asian practitioners, not just focusing on his efforts, but also creating inter-Asian alliances. So that was like a really heartwarming experience for me, because I realized, like, even if there are issues like nowadays in Arizona, there are wildfires, we always have like these physical pieces of divine experiences to encourage us forward. Like in Bengal, there's a Tarapeeth for their version of the Tantric Tara. And in these days, that region is experiencing tremendous upheaval, if you have been watching the news. And for people who practice like mantras, sometimes personally, I'm speaking, like if something huge happens, I just forget my mantras. These pieces are very important, and it's not just about the word, right? There's the word, and then there's like energy fields, relics, empowerments, etc. One other experience I had was that in Arizona, United States, during Chakra Samvara Jupchen mantra recitation at Garchen Buddhist Institute, there was an added event to the already decided schedule. And personally, as a student for many years, I was very shocked to learn about this change. And during meditation, I was thinking, oh, samsara is never ending. And suddenly things are just like the Diamond Sutra, they just quickly vanish. And then suddenly I remembered how Chetsang Rinpoche suffered as a child in communist-ruled Tibet. And I suddenly felt this existential threat that, oh, what if people start saying that he's not the true Rinpoche? And I was crying, and I didn't want to give up the Drupchen because I knew it was also very important to accumulate the mantras. And I was panicking as well because I didn't know where this was coming from, perhaps my own karma, but everything was like a terrible nightmare. Fortunately, at the end of the session, one of the lamas, he noticed and he understood what I was experiencing, and he cast like a very sweet nectar type mantra. I didn't know what it was, but I felt very blessed in that instant. Even though he was blessing the entire space, I was particularly benefiting from it because I was the one who was having a breakdown at that moment. So I felt the compassion of lamas who follow the Drikung order for their mostly youthful days, and they contribute their power, their knowledge to the order. And so the beauty of Vajrayana is such that the more you accumulate positive karma, the more power you have to help others in these supernatural senses. Like, he didn't talk to me, he didn't even approach me, and he didn't ask me anything, but he knew. And then he helped me indirectly without any kind of record or explicit exchange. So that was just the most amazing thing. And now we will go into the biography, where the word is challenging some of these experiences. At the end of August 1990, a man appeared in Ladakh with a supposed letter of authorization from His Holiness the Dalai Lama that said he was the true reincarnation of Drikung Kagyu Rinpoche. He was Lobsang Chotzen of Lhasa, a former monk who had spent a few years in Yangrigar and Drikung Kagyu in his youth, and had then lived in the Gelugpa monastery of Ganden with Song Rinpoche. After his escape, he rejoined Song Rinpoche for a while in his exile monastery in Mussoorie in southern India. Then he disrobed and married. He had some contact with Ayang Rinpoche's nearby monastery through his earlier relationship with the Drikung Pa, and so once met HH Chetsang Rinpoche there. He bewailed his fate to Rinpoche, who listened patiently to everything and even helped him out with some money. Later, Lobsang Chotzen moved to Ladakh and set up a lucrative business as a fortune teller in Leh. In the front room, his wife would pump the unsuspecting supplicants for information about their family and problems, passing the information to her husband, who then performed a traditional divination and delivered predictions based on the information his wife had extracted. He quickly became a local celebrity and made enough to build a house and inflate his opinion of himself. One day, he decided to present himself as the true Drikung Kagyu Rinpoche. He obtained an audience with the Dalai Lama, in which he served up fantastic tales and presented counterfeited documents about his supposed divinatory abilities. He impudently claimed to have been one of the candidates at the selection of Chetsang Rinpoche's reincarnation in Tibet, and through this fraud, he obtained a general letter of support from the Dalai Lama. Back in Ladakh, he posed as the true Drikung Kagyu Rinpoche and placed posters of himself with the Dalai Lama in all of the Drikung monasteries. He presented the letter to Tokden Rinpoche, who felt it best not to respond, and Chetsang Rinpoche himself was unperturbed by the incident, seeing it nothing more than the play of samsara. When there's much light, the shadows are deep, and mental poisons cause flowers of greed, envy, and jealousy to bloom. Rinpoche paid little attention to the outraged protests of the Drikung monks, preferring to concentrate on the tasks he felt were truly important. But Lobsang Chotzen was planning to go abroad and make his fortune by means of this fraud, so representatives of the Drikung monasteries prevented him from receiving an exit permit and obtained a court inquest into the authenticity of the letter. When the Dalai Lama was informed of this insolent fraud, he was indignant, and he was even more outraged at the brazenly false misrepresentation of his letter. At the end of October, he clarified his position with an official statement that he had never said that Lobsang Chotzen was the true reincarnation of the Drikung Kagyu Rinpoche. He had written that it was possible that he was the reincarnation, not that he was one of the Chetsang Rinpoche. In his letter, the Dalai Lama, His Holiness, used a Tibetan expression signifying a person who might be appropriate or suitable for something. The term does not indicate that he was a true tulku, and certainly not the Drikung Kagyu Rinpoche. The wording was clear and unambiguous. One could not interpret it arbitrarily. The true Drikung Kagyu Rinpoche, Tenzin Chunle Lundrup, was beyond doubt the reincarnation recognized by Taktra Rinpoche in 1950 and enthroned in Tibet. The Dalai Lama followed with praise of Chetsang Rinpoche. He criticized Lobsang Chotzen sharply, forbade him to continue spreading such false allegations, and ordered him to return his letter of support. The Dalai Lama did not mince words. He said this impostor was behaving like a demon and not a human being. Subdued, Lobsang Chotzen dropped out of sight. Thank you for watching, and tomorrow we have a teaching of His Holiness, and I hope you can join virtually through YouTube. Bye!